Some people don't believe in instincts. They think fear is just your brain playing tricks. But I can tell you, this if I had ignored mine that night, I wouldn't be alive to tell you this story. It was the summer of 2020. My name's Caleb Morgan, and I was 24 at the time. I just finished a brutal 12-hour shift at the restaurant where I worked in Ann Arbor. My family was waiting at my uncle's cabin on Lake Huron for our annual reunion. They expected me by morning. That meant a 6-hour solo drive through northern Michigan, through endless forests, narrow highways, and towns that looked frozen in the 1950s. I was already exhausted, but I figured I'd power through. I told myself the drive would be peaceful. Just me, the hum of the tires, and the smell of pine drifting in through the vents. For the first 2 hours, it was fine. Lonely, but fine. The road was flanked by towering trees, their branches blotting out the stars. The kind of darkness that feels heavier than night, like a curtain pulled tight around you. Then my gaslight blinked on. I cursed under my breath. My roommate had borrowed my car the day before and swore he'd topped it off. He hadn't. I watched the needle kiss E as dread coiled in my gut. Out here, gas stations weren't every few miles like in the city. If I ran out, I'd be stuck in the middle of nowhere. I scanned the green exit signs. Nothing. Then, at 2:15 a.m., my headlights caught a crude wooden sign jammed into the dirt. Gas next, Excitey, the words were scrawled in dripping white spray paint. Uneven, almost like a warning instead of a promise. I hesitated, but the tank was nearly dry. I didn't have a choice. I took the exit instead of a paved road. The ramp turned into a run-filled dirt track winding deeper into the woods. My headlights struggled to cut through the dark. Branches scraped the roof of the car, whispering against the metal dot. Finally, a building appeared on the right dot. It was Soar, had once been a gas station. The pumps were gone, leaving rusted stubs and cracked concrete. Windows shattered, the roof sagging, graffiti peeling from the walls. This place hadn't sold gas in decades. I slammed the wheel in frustration, checking the gauge. Less than a mile left in the tank. I pulled over on the shoulder, killed the engine, and called AA. My voice trembled as I gave them my location, somewhere off Route 23, by a broken gas station. They said a truck would come, but it could take hours, so I waited, alone. The forest pressed in against the car, silent, except for the occasional rustle. My eyelids grew heavy, exhaustion threatening to drag me under. That's when I heard it, a voice, low and clear, slipping in through my cracked window. "Hey buddy, come over here." My blood froze. I snapped my head toward the station. A figure stood by the corner of the building, half hidden in shadows. He wore a heavy coat and scarf despite the summer heat. His posture was ragged, slouched, like he'd been living rough. He stepped closer. "You looking for gas?" His voice rasped like dry leaves. "I got a container inside. It's free of charge. Just follow me." "Stinks," screamed. Every nerve in my body told me not to move. "No, I'm good," I stammered, forcing my voice steady. He stopped a few feet from my passenger side window. The glow of the dashboard lights revealed his face. Hollow eyes, gaunt cheeks, a blank expression as if he were staring through me. We locked eyes. He didn't blink, didn't speak, just stared, motionless. The silence was worse than his voice. Minutes crawled by like hours. My hands shook on the wheel. I prayed he'd leave. He didn't. At 3:30 a.m., salvation arrived. The crunch of tires on gravel. Headlights swept across the road as a tow truck rolled up. Amber lights flashing. The man's head snapped toward the sound. Without a word, he bolted. He sprinted toward the abandoned station and vanished into the trees. Relief hit me like a wave until I saw them, japes, 8 or 9 figures, crouched in the bushes near the building. Rising in unison when the truck's lights hit them, they stood tall, still, their outlines human, but not quite right. For one horrifying moment, I realized they'd been there the whole time, watching, waiting, but then, like shadows dissolving, they melted back into the forest. My blood ran cold. If I had stepped out of the car, if I had followed that man, I would have walked straight into their trap. Tow truck driver, burly guy with a thick beard approached, scratching his head. You, the one who called for gas. I nodded, voice shaking. Yeah, but there were people hiding in the bushes. His face hardened. He glanced at the tree line, then muttered, "We'll let the sheriff know." He filled my tank, never, turning his back to the woods. By 4 a.m., I was back on the road, heart pounding so hard it hurt. The next day, my uncle got a call from the sheriff's department. They searched the area. No footprints, just an empty, rotting station swallowed by a forest. But I know what I saw. Those figures, those waiting shapes. That night still plays in my head like a nightmare on loop. I still drive up to the cabin each summer, but I never travel at night anymore. I always check my gas before leaving, and I never, ever take strange exits, because sometimes the signs aren't pointing you to safety, they're bait, and sometimes what's waiting in the dark isn't looking to help, it's looking to trap you. That night, I realized monsters don't always hide under the bed. Sometimes they build traps in the places you least expect. And if I had opened that door, if I had taken one step into that station, I would have been gone just another name, whispered among the trees. So if you ever see a hand waving you closer on a deserted road at 3 a.m., remember my story and keep driving.